Build yourself so strong that life can't break you. Stoicism philosophy. Introduction. Stop waiting for life to become easy. Subscribe to this channel for more Stoic wisdom, practical philosophy, and lessons that can help you become stronger, calmer, and more disciplined in the face of life. And if you believe that you are capable of becoming a stronger version of yourself, stay with me until the very end. Because today, we're talking about something deeper than motivation. We're talking about building yourself into someone life cannot easily destroy. Not someone who never suffers. Not someone who never gets rejected. Not someone who never loses money, relationships, opportunities, or people they love. But someone who can go through those experiences without losing themselves. Because life will test you. It will test your patience. It will test your confidence. It will test your discipline. It will test your relationships. It will test your finances. It will test your plans. And sometimes life will hit you in places you never expected. You will experience disappointment. You will be misunderstood. Someone you trusted may walk away. Something you worked years for may disappear. A plan you believed in may fail. And there will be moments when you ask yourself, why is this happening to me? But Stoicism teaches us to ask a different question. Now that this has happened, what am I going to do with it? That question changes everything. Because you cannot control every event. But you can train yourself to become stronger than the events you cannot control. The goal isn't to build a life where nothing goes wrong. The goal is to build a mind that remains standing when things go wrong. So today, we're going through powerful Stoic principles for becoming mentally, emotionally, and spiritually stronger. Listen carefully. Because if you practice these principles consistently, you won't become someone who needs life to be gentle. You will become someone who can remain strong even when life isn't. 1. Stop expecting life to be fair. One of the first things you must eliminate is the expectation that life will always treat you fairly. This expectation creates unnecessary suffering. You work hard. Someone else succeeds. You remain loyal. Someone else betrays you. You tell the truth. Someone else lies. You do everything correctly. Something still goes wrong. And your first reaction might be, this isn't fair. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Life has never promised to be fair. The Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius faced war, political conflict, betrayal, illness, death, and enormous responsibility. Yet he repeatedly reminded himself to focus on what belonged to his control. You cannot control whether people are fair. You cannot control whether circumstances favor you. You cannot control whether someone recognizes your effort. But you can control how you respond. So instead of asking, why isn't life fair to me? Ask, how can I respond with strength? That is where your power begins. 2. Build your character, not your image. Modern society constantly encourages us to build an image. Look successful. Look wealthy. Look powerful. Look attractive. Look confident. Get attention. Collect followers. But Stoicism asks a much deeper question. Who are you when nobody is watching? Your character is what remains when the applause disappears. You don't need everyone to respect you. You need to become someone you respect. Be honest when lying would be easier. Be disciplined when nobody is forcing you. Keep your word. Control your anger. Admit when you're wrong. Do what is right even when there is no reward. Because the strongest person in the room isn't always the loudest. Sometimes the strongest person is the one who has complete control over himself. 3. Train your mind to handle discomfort. If you always run away from discomfort, you become weaker every time discomfort appears. But if you deliberately practice doing difficult things, your tolerance for difficulty grows. Wake up when you don't feel like waking up. Exercise when you're tired. Work when you're not motivated. Have difficult conversations when necessary. Say no when something violates your values. Spend time without constant entertainment. Learn to sit quietly with your thoughts. These small acts teach your brain something powerful. I can do difficult things. and that belief becomes a foundation for resilience. You don't become strong by avoiding every challenge. You become strong by repeatedly proving to yourself that you can survive challenges. 4. Stop needing everyone's approval. One of the biggest weaknesses a person can have is becoming addicted to approval. You constantly ask, "Do they like me? Did they approve? What will people say? Do they think I'm successful? Why didn't they respond? Why did they unfollow me?" Your peace becomes dependent on other people's opinions. But here's the problem. People change. Opinions change. Crowds change. Trends change. Today they may praise you. Tomorrow they may criticize you. If your identity depends on their approval, your emotional state will always be unstable. Stoicism teaches you to return your attention to what you control. Ask, "Am I living according to my principles?" If the answer is yes, keep moving. You don't need universal approval. You need inner approval. 5. Learn to control your reaction. Imagine someone insults you. Your first impulse is anger. You want to respond immediately. You want to defend yourself. You want them to feel what you felt. But stop. Take a breath. Create space between the event and your reaction. That space is where strength lives. You don't have to respond to every provocation. You don't have to answer every insult. You don't have to win every argument. Sometimes your greatest victory is refusing to become the person someone else is trying to provoke. Remember this. People can create situations, but they don't automatically control your response. Your reaction is your territory. Protect it. 6. Accept what you cannot control. This is one of the foundations of Stoic philosophy. There are things you control. Your choices. Your actions. Your effort. Your attitude. Your judgments. Your discipline. And there are things you don't control. Other people's behavior. The past. The weather. The economy. Death. Other people's opinions. Unexpected events. Trying to control what you cannot control is one of the fastest ways to destroy your peace. So whenever you're struggling, ask, "Is this within my control?" If yes, take responsibility. If no, practice acceptance. Acceptance does not mean weakness. Acceptance means you're refusing to waste your energy fighting reality. 7. Stop running from failure. Failure is not the opposite of strength. Sometimes failure is the training ground for strength. You started something. It didn't work. You trusted someone. They disappointed you. You took a risk. It failed. You tried again. It failed again. Does that mean you are finished? No. It means you have information you didn't have before. Every failure can teach you something. Instead of saying, "I failed," try saying, "I discovered one more way that doesn't work." Then adjust. Learn. Improve. Continue. The strongest people aren't those who never fall. They're the ones who become better at getting back up. 8. Stop making your past your identity. Maybe you made mistakes. Maybe you wasted years. Maybe you trusted the wrong people. Maybe you made financial mistakes. Maybe you behaved badly in the past. Maybe you didn't become the person you thought you would become. But understand this. Your past can explain you without permanently defining you. You are not required to remain the person you used to be. Every morning gives you another opportunity to choose your character. You cannot rewrite yesterday, but you can influence tomorrow. So learn from your past without living inside it. Take the lesson. Leave the shame. Move forward. 9. Build discipline when motivation disappears. Motivation is unreliable. Some mornings you will feel inspired. Other mornings you won't. If your life depends on motivation, your progress will constantly stop and start. Discipline is different. Discipline says, "I don't feel like doing it, but I'm doing it anyway." That is how you build yourself. You don't need to feel powerful before taking action. Action creates confidence. Keep promises to yourself. If you say you're going to exercise, exercise. If you say you're going to study, study. If you say you're going to work, work. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your self-respect grows. Every time you repeatedly break your own promises, your confidence weakens. Build the habit of trusting yourself. 10. Learn to be alone without feeling empty. There is a difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness says, I need someone to complete me. Solitude says, I am comfortable with myself. Learn to spend time alone. Turn off the phone. Walk without headphones. Think. Read. Write. Reflect. Ask yourself difficult questions. What do I actually want? What am I avoiding? What kind of person am I becoming? What habits are destroying my future? What do I need to change? You cannot build yourself if you are constantly distracted from yourself. Silence can reveal things that noise hides. 11. Stop chasing what keeps running away. This applies to relationships, opportunities, approval, attention, and recognition. Sometimes you keep trying because you believe persistence means never letting go. But Stoicism teaches another form of strength. Knowing when to release. If someone doesn't value your presence, don't spend your entire life trying to convince them. If an opportunity repeatedly closes despite your best efforts, reassess. If something consistently destroys your peace, examine whether holding on to it is worth the cost. Letting go doesn't always mean giving up. Sometimes it means accepting reality and redirecting your energy. 12. Make yourself responsible for your life. Blaming others can feel comfortable. My parents. My partner. My boss. My friends. The economy. My past. My circumstances. Maybe some of these things genuinely affected you. But there comes a point when you must say, my life is my responsibility. Not because everything that happened was your fault, but because your future is still your responsibility. You cannot control what happened to you, but you can decide what happens next. That is a powerful distinction. 13. Practice negative visualization. The Stoics sometimes reflected on the possibility of losing what they valued. Not because they wanted tragedy, but because they understood that everything external is temporary. Your health can change. Your relationships can change. Your financial situation can change. Your circumstances can change. When you remember this, you stop taking ordinary blessings for granted. You appreciate the conversation. You appreciate your family. You appreciate your opportunities. You appreciate another morning. Gratitude becomes stronger when you understand impermanence. 14. Don't let anger become your personality. Anger can feel powerful, but uncontrolled anger is often a form of weakness. Someone says something, you explode. Someone disagrees, you explode. Someone disrespects you, you lose control. Now they control your emotional state. That's the irony. You thought anger made you powerful, but you handed another person the remote control to your emotions. Real strength is being able to feel anger without becoming anger. Pause. Observe. Choose. Respond deliberately. 15. Protect your attention. Your attention is one of your most valuable resources. Every notification wants it. Every argument wants it. Every social media platform wants it. Every distraction wants it. If you give your attention to everything, you will have very little left for what matters. Ask yourself, does this deserve my attention? Not everything deserves a response. Not every conversation deserves your energy. Not every opinion deserves consideration. Not every problem is your problem. Learn to say, this is not worthy of my attention. That sentence alone can transform your life. 16. Become comfortable with being misunderstood. One of the hardest lessons in life is realizing that some people will misunderstand you no matter how clearly you explain yourself. You can explain your intentions. You can explain your decisions. You can defend your character. And someone may still choose to misunderstand you. Let them. You don't have to spend your life trying to correct every person's perception of you. Your character is revealed by your actions over time. Live correctly. Let time speak. 17. Choose your environment carefully. You can have strong intentions and still become influenced by your environment. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, complaining, laziness, dishonesty, and destructive behavior, eventually it becomes harder to resist. Choose people who challenge you to become better. Spend time around people who value discipline. People who tell you the truth. People who encourage growth. People who don't celebrate your destruction. And remember, you don't need hundreds of friends. Sometimes a few good people are worth more than a crowd. 18. Don't make pleasure your purpose. Pleasure is not evil. But when pleasure becomes your primary purpose, discipline disappears. Always choose the easiest option. Always seek entertainment. Always avoid discomfort. Always consume. Never create. Never sacrifice. Never delay gratification. Eventually you become fragile. Strong people learn to delay pleasure for something more meaningful. They can say, "Not now. Later." That ability is incredibly powerful. 19. Develop a strong body. Stoicism isn't only about thoughts. Your physical condition affects your mental condition. Exercise. Walk. Build strength. Sleep properly. Eat responsibly. Take care of your body. You don't need to become obsessed with appearance. The goal is capability. You want a body that supports your mission instead of constantly becoming an obstacle. Physical discipline teaches mental discipline. When you train your body to tolerate difficulty, you also train your mind. 20. Learn to say no. Every yes has a cost. When you say yes to everything, you eventually say no to yourself. No to your goals. No to your rest. No to your priorities. No to your values. Learn to say, "No, I can't. No, that's not for me. No, I don't agree. No, I won't participate." You don't need to explain yourself endlessly. Boundaries are not cruelty. They are clarity. 21. Stop comparing your journey to other people's journeys. Comparison is one of the easiest ways to destroy gratitude. Someone is richer. Someone is younger. Someone is more successful. Someone has a better relationship. Someone has a bigger house. Someone has more followers. But you don't know the complete story. You see their highlight reel. You don't see their private struggles. Focus on your path. Your competition is not the person next to you. Your competition is the version of yourself you could become. 22. Turn pain into training. When something painful happens, ask, "What can this teach me?" Rejection can teach you self-respect. Failure can teach you patience. Loss can teach you appreciation. Betrayal can teach you discernment. Difficulty can teach you endurance. Loneliness can teach you independence. Pain doesn't automatically make you wiser. Reflection does. Don't simply suffer. Study your suffering. Ask what it is trying to teach you. 23. Build a life that doesn't depend on one thing. Never place your entire identity in one area. If your entire identity is your job, what happens when you lose the job? If your entire identity is your relationship, what happens when the relationship ends? If your entire identity is money, what happens when money disappears? Build yourself broadly. Have meaningful work. Develop friendships. Take care of your body. Develop your mind. Build useful skills. Maintain your values. Have something inside yourself that circumstances cannot easily take away. 24. Master the art of delaying your response. You don't have to answer immediately. You don't have to make decisions while angry. You don't have to respond while emotionally overwhelmed. Sometimes the smartest response is, "I'll think about it." Sleep on it. Walk away. Write your thoughts down. Return when your emotions have settled. A delayed response is often wiser than an emotional reaction. Give wisdom time to enter the room.